Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that really aims to cut through the noise and get you straight to the insights you need to help you be truly well-informed. Today we're tackling a tech topic that, well, it often feels a bit mysterious, maybe even intimidating for some, but it holds some incredible potential. We're talking about Ubuntu. Now, most of us, we live in the world of Windows or macOS, right? It's familiar. But now imagine an operating system that's completely free, remarkably secure, and offers you a level of control you might not have even thought possible. That's Ubuntu, essentially. And it's a pretty significant alternative that's definitely worth exploring if you're curious. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is just how deeply ingrained that idea is, that moving beyond Windows or macOS means stepping into some super complicated tech nerd-only kind of realm. But this deep dive, well, it's specifically designed to take that myth apart. We're going to show you why Ubuntu isn't just another operating system. It's arguably the best starting point for anyone curious about Linux. It offers a really clear, user-friendly path to understanding its true power. Think of it as maybe a shortcut to digital empowerment.
Right. So our mission today is pretty clear. Distill the absolute most important insights about Ubuntu. Everything from its core philosophy, its sort of why, down to the practical first steps. The goal is so you can quickly grasp why it's not just highly recommended, free, and open source, but also potentially a genuinely liberating computing experience. So let's just dive right in then. For someone who's spent their entire digital life, maybe, with Windows or macOS, the idea of switching, it can feel like a huge leap. Why would anyone even consider Ubuntu as their main alternative? What's the fundamental draw here?
Well, I think the fundamental reason really lies in its identity. Ubuntu is one of the most popular, maybe the most popular, Linux distribution. And that means it's built on a foundation of being free and open source.
Okay, free and open source.
Yeah.
We hear that a lot. But what does that really mean for, the average user?
Right. It's not just about the zero cost, although obviously that's a huge plus for anyone's budget. It's more about the freedom and the transparency that comes with it. The open source part means the underlying code isn't locked away. It's also generally lightweight, which is great because it can often run really well on older computers, giving them a new lease on life.
Ah, so it could speed up an old laptop, potentially.
Exactly. And it's incredibly secure. That's partly thanks to that open source nature. You have a global community constantly looking at the code, finding and fixing things. Plus, its design focuses on a smooth, intuitive experience. It really pushes back against that old idea that Linux is hard to use or only for, people who love typing commands. It's accessible, it's robust, and it's designed for just about anyone.
That simplicity really does sound like a potential game changer, especially for someone who's curious, but maybe a bit hesitant about Linux because of those exact perceptions. But doesn't Linux often bring up images of complex command lines in people's minds? You touched on it, but how does Ubuntu really manage to sidestep that for a beginner? And here's where it gets really interesting. Beyond that core identity, what are the specific features that make Ubuntu stand out, particularly for a learner, for you listening?
That's a great point. And yeah, Ubuntu really excels here. While sure, the command line is there and it's incredibly powerful if you want to use it, you rarely need it for just everyday stuff. Ubuntu's, let's call it a secret weapon, is its user-friendly interface. It uses a desktop environment called GNOME. Yeah, GNOME. It's essentially the graphical layer, the desktop, the icons, the menus you click on. Think of it like the Windows desktop or Mac OS interface you already know. GNOME is designed to be really intuitive, ensures remarkably easy navigation. Honestly, it often feels surprisingly familiar right from the first login, so that directly tackles that myth that Linux looks scary or is hard to navigate visually.
Okay, so it looks and feels familiar enough to pick up fairly quickly. And you mentioned the open source part meaning no cost. What's the sort of deeper benefit there? Is it just about saving money?
Not at all, though the cost saving is nice. Let's dig into that free and open source aspect a bit more. Beyond just saving you money on licenses, the open source part is, well, it's quite profound. It means the actual code, the blueprint of the operating system, is publicly available. Anyone can look at it, check it for problems, suggest improvements, even modify it.
Anyone?
Yep. This creates this incredible level of transparency and community collaboration. Think about security vulnerabilities. They often get spotted and fixed incredibly fast by this global network of developers, sometimes much faster than in closed proprietary systems. It's this unique kind of collective security net and rapid innovation you just don't get elsewhere, which leads nicely into high security.
Right.
Ubuntu benefits directly from this constant, rigorous community oversight and gets frequent updates. This generally means fewer vulnerabilities compared to many other operating systems. It offers you, the user, significant peace of mind.
You mentioned high security, which is obviously a huge draw for anyone.
Yeah.
But practically speaking, can you give an example? How might Ubuntu's security model offer more, say, tangible peace of mind compared to Windows?
Well, think of it like this. Because Linux systems like Ubuntu have a smaller share of the desktop market compared to, say, Windows, they're less of a target for common malware creators. Combine that with the open source scrutiny we talked about, where many eyes are looking for flaws, and you generally see fewer widespread viruses or ransomware specifically designed to exploit Ubuntu.
So maybe less risk from random email attachments or dodgy websites?
Generally, yes. It's not completely invulnerable, of course no system is, but the whole structure, the proactive community, the rapid patching, it often means threats are dealt with more swiftly and effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. What else stands out?
Then for people who love to really make their computer feel theirs, customization is massive. And we're not just talking about changing your wallpaper, you know?
Right. More than just background pictures.
Exactly. It's about tailoring your entire desktop environment down to the smallest details. You can change themes, icon sets, window behaviors, panel layouts, add extensions. Imagine setting up your workspace perfectly optimized just for writing, with minimal distractions, or building a powerful development setup exactly how you like it. That level of granular control. It can be a real game changer for productivity and just making it feel like your space.
So real personalization power.
Definitely. And finally, maybe one of the most practical points, software availability. There used to be a perception that you couldn't get real software on Linux. That's largely outdated now. You get access to thousands and thousands of applications directly through the Ubuntu Software Center. It's like an app store. It covers pretty much everything from essential Office suites like LibreOffice, which is compatible with Microsoft Office files, to web browsers, email clients, photo editors, video players, and even really advanced programming tools and IDEs.
So the essentials are covered. You're not going to feel like you're missing out on basic tools.
Not at all. Whatever you generally need, it's very likely available and usually just a click or two away to install.
That's a really compelling list of benefits. I mean, from cost savings to security to this deep customization. Unparalleled control, really. But, you know, with all that power and flexibility, the idea of actually installing and getting started with any new operating system can still seem a bit daunting, can it? So, okay, someone's listening, they're intrigued by these advantages. What's the next logical step? How do they actually get their hands on this and start using it? What does that initial journey look like for a beginner?
Yeah, that's the crucial practical question, isn't it? And honestly, it's much simpler than you might imagine. The very first step is simply download and install. You just go to the official Ubuntu website, ubuntu.com. You'll find the download section easily. You grab what's called an ISO file. Think of it like a complete bootable snapshot of the entire operating system packed into one file.
An ISO file.
Then you use a simple tool, they usually recommend one, right on the website, to write that ISO file onto a USB drive. This makes the USB stick bootable, meaning your computer can start up from it.
So you need a spare USB stick.
Yeah, a reasonably sized one, maybe 8 GB or more, just to be safe. Once you have that bootable USB, you have some flexible installation options. Probably the most popular choice for beginners, and the one I often recommend trying first, is installing Ubuntu alongside Windows. This is called a dual boot.
Dual boot, so you keep Windows.
Exactly. When you start your computer, you'll get a little menu asking if you want to boot into Windows or into Ubuntu. It's a fantastic, no-commitment way to try Ubuntu out without wiping your existing system.
That sounds perfect for dipping your toes in. Less scary.
Totally. Or, of course, if you have a spare machine or you're feeling confident, you can dedicate the whole computer to Ubuntu and install it as the main or only operating system.
That dual boot option sounds ideal for trying it out. But I can imagine someone doing that for the first time. Maybe they hit a snag. Are there any common gotchas or maybe tips you'd give them just for a smoother ride?
That's a good thought. The main thing, honestly, is always back up your important files before you start messing with partitions or installing new operating systems. Just common sense, really, but crucial.
Always back up. Good advice for anything.
Absolutely. And sometimes you might need to go into your computer's BIOS or UEFI settings. That's the low-level system settings you access before Windows or Ubuntu loads, just to make sure it's allowed to boot from a USB drive. Sometimes that's disabled by default.
Okay, BIOS UEFI settings. Might need a quick search for how to do that on your specific machine.
Exactly. Usually involves pressing a key like F2, F12, or delete right when you turn the computer on. But once you've got it installed, the next crucial step is just to explore the interface. Don't be afraid. Just click around. Open the Activities overview. That's kind of your main hub for launching apps and seeing what's running. Explore the file manager, check out the settings panel. Take some time to just familiarize yourself. You'll likely find it feels, as I said, surprisingly intuitive, quite similar in concept to what you're used to.
Just get comfortable with where things are.
Precisely. And then for keeping things running smoothly, it's super easy to update and upgrade your system. Now, this is where you might see a command, but it's a very standard and simple one. Sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade.
Okay, that looks a bit technical. Sudo apt.
It does, but let's break it down quickly. Sudo just means run this command with administrator privileges, like run as administrator in Windows. You'll need your password. Apt is Ubuntu's package manager. It's this incredibly powerful tool that handles installing, removing, and updating all your software. So apt update tells it to check for the latest lists of available software and updates, and apt upgrade tells it to actually download and install any available updates for your system and applications.
Ah, okay. So it's basically just telling the system check for updates and then install them.
You got it. That single line keeps everything current and secure. It's very efficient. And finally, as we talked about before, you can easily install applications. Just open the Ubuntu software application. It's usually right there on your dock. Search for what you need and click install, like an app store on your phone. Super simple. And it supports all the major types of apps you'd expect.
That really does seem to simplify what might otherwise feel like pretty big initial hurdles. Okay, so wrapping this section up, what does this all mean for someone who's maybe new to this whole space or just Linux curious? Let's bring it all together. Why should a beginner specifically choose Ubuntu as their entry point into this, well, this powerful alternative world of computing?
You know, it truly boils down to this. Ubuntu works very hard and largely succeeds at systematically eliminating many of those old myths about Linux being difficult or only for experts. It's designed to be approachable right from the start. With its clean, modern design, its rock-solid stability, it's known for just running reliably, and crucially, a massive, active, and incredibly supportive online community.
That community aspect sounds important.
It's huge. If you hit a problem, chances are someone else has too, and the solution is often just a quick web search away on forums or Q&A sites. All of this means that new users, maybe you listening, can smoothly transition to Linux. You get to enjoy much better control over your system, that deep customization we mentioned, and a really robust computing environment, all without feeling completely overwhelmed. It genuinely provides, I think, the smoothest on-ramp currently available to the world of open source computing.
What a deep dive indeed. We've really uncovered how Ubuntu stands out. It's free, it's secure, highly customizable, and importantly, remarkably beginner-friendly as an alternative operating system. It offers you immense control, access to that vast software library, proving it's really not some complex system to be feared. Instead, it's perhaps a very accessible entry point to a whole new world of computing freedom.
And maybe this raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about. When you consider an operating system like Ubuntu, built by a community, open source, transparent, what does that really mean for your own personal computing empowerment? Think about the profound value, perhaps, of truly controlling your own digital environment, right, from the operating system up, rather than just being a consumer of software someone else dictates. What's the value of that freedom to you?